These are the areas where you have to be very careful because you're sort of moving between pedestrians and traffic. There's a bike coming on my inside here. Good morning, everyone. It's time for us to check out of our lovely hotel. This is the Kandy City Village homestay, and yeah, it's been great. We're just going to have some breakfast. We're going to go upstairs, see if we have any monkeys this morning. We've definitely got crows. Good morning, crow. Good morning. One last look across Kandy. Here's a beautiful view here, and it's a complete bedlam just down here, but it's a real oasis. This was a good find, this hotel. How are you this morning?
Yeah, good, sir.
Good. Breakfast is arriving. It's a beautiful day. It's really, I'd say it's probably about 23, 24, 25 degrees. Probably a little warmer than that, but there's a nice cool breeze. Oh, beautiful fruit, Sultan. How about that? That looks so pretty. Look at the colors. And he has toast and eggs. Gorgeous.
Wonderful.
Thank you, Sultan.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, my friend. You're very fit. That's why you're so skinny and I'm so fat.
But I'm very easy going down.
Yeah. Thank you, Stuti. Thank you, man. Okay, you lot can clear off now because I'm gonna just enjoy this beautiful looking breakfast. So we've got eggs, loads of toast, a beautiful fruit salad or fruit platter with some orange juice, yogurt, and jam and butter, coffee and tea. I'm hungry.
Perfect.
You ready, Michelle?
Oh, dive in.
And that view. Last day with the tuk-tuk. We've got to drive now from Kandy, Sultan's place, to Colombo. And then we return the tuk-tuk, so it's all over.
Honey, 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 honey.
Thank you, man.
Thank you. You never know, we may turn up again.
If we stay in Sri Lanka, we'll come back again. Lovely family. This is a great place. We highly recommend. So we've got to drive now. It's probably 3 hours. Sultan reckons the roads will be very quiet because of the petrol shortages. Okay, we're leaving Kandy. The one blessing of this fuel could be that the roads might be quieter. They don't look much quieter at the moment, but maybe it's on the long stretches. We've had a really good stay in Kandy. It's possibly my favourite city in the whole of Sri Lanka. I hope I don't get into trouble for saying that. I love the whole of Sri Lanka, but Kandy is one of my favourite places. It's much busier than it used to be, so there's a lot more traffic here than there ever was. If you're thinking ever of getting a tuk-tuk and driving in Sri Lanka, I'd say go for it. It's absolutely a ball. And the other thing, if you're going to do a really big trip, we've had 2 weeks, but you might want to take it for a little bit longer if you want to get up to Jaffna, which we haven't been able to do on this trip. I really wanted to get to Jaffna, but it's a long drive, and with the fuel shortages, it's probably not gonna work. Okay, you'll be able to see me in here. So let's do a little drive. This is just leaving Kandy. We're just on the outskirts of the city of Kandy now. Wait for the road to clear. All the buses to go by. Bang. One. Wow, a lot of buses. 1, 2, 3. I can see another 2 coming. I might as well let them go. They're only going to pass me in a minute. And, let's get rolling. My hotel host said the roads will be very quiet today because of the fuel shortages. Look at the bananas here. This got bananas and oranges, I think. Ideally, as you're driving along, you want to avoid the potholes, particularly with the front wheel. Getting a little bit of a pincer movement there between the ute and the car. Now the bus is going to want to come out and churn out a lot of smoke. The Faculty of Dental Science. So this is our last drive, our last big drive in the old tuk-tuk. So we thought we might as well have you come along with us. Up this, okay, off to the right, so bear right. I've got Michelle giving me directions. She's doing the Google directions. Now I get people saying in the comments sometimes you should drive further to the left or further to the right. Honestly, if you've never driven in somewhere like Sri Lanka, you're probably best not to give advice. There's a reason tuk-tuks take a sort of fairly random route sometimes on the roads, and it's generally because of the quality. Like on this bridge, for example, there's some big drops. You can't see them, but these holes are quite big. If you hit them with the wheels of your tuk-tuk, it's very jarring. So we'll drop into first gear to go around this corner just because and here on this bit of road, you see I have to come out to the right because it's so rough. It's so rough there. So really, the reason I love driving in countries like Sri Lanka, whether it be a tuk-tuk or even in a car for that matter, it's a very offensive style of driving. I don't mean offensive, you're not, or defensive maybe. Straight round this bend, Michelle?
Yeah,
28 kilometres, okay, so we don't have to think for a little. See, there's a little hole there, so I'll come over to the left and avoid it with my front wheel, and the back wheels just sort of go either side of it. So yeah, it's a very sort of offensive way of driving. There's another little hole, so we come over to the right. So you've always got to be aware, but you're never going overly fast. And there's a natural sort of organic movement of the traffic, which when you drive in the West, it's a lot, potentially you might say, safer, but realistically, things happen, accidents happen in the West as well, because we do get complacent, and you know, you're driving almost with a neutral brain set, whereas here in Sri Lanka, you're always aware of your environment. You have to be. I have to look, there's a pothole here. Coming over, there's a guy coming on my right side, so he's gone out wide, but he's not bothered that I come out also on the width, because he knows what I'm doing. He knows why I'm avoiding a particular hole in the road. Now this guy is going a little slower. Is he looking for a fare or drop off? No, he's gathered up his speed a bit. So you're always aware. I can see in my mirror now there's a motorbike coming on my inside, there's a bus coming on my right side, but you have to be fully aware of your environment. So now the bike's come out, he's coming out on the right, a little overtake. Now, generally, if you look the tuk-tuk ahead, one of them is hugging the white line, the other one is on the curb side. Mainly because every part of that road was a little bit rough. So I know I've got a bus behind me. I think it's stopped to drop or pick up a fare. There's another pothole. Well, it actually is a manhole cover, but they're usually so deep they give you quite a jolt. The only thing I do find is if you're doing, like today, we're doing a 3-hour journey, maybe even a little longer, that it can be quite exhausting. And that could be just because we're not doing it all the time. You see the tuk-tuk went out, it went wide around there. So it could be that I'm just not used to it and these tuk-tuk drivers are very used to the driving. Or it could be that it just is exhausting because mentally you're always having to pay attention to every little spot of the road. If you're driving in Australia or Europe or America for that matter, you can put the cruise control on a straight road, and there's always the danger people do. They'll fall asleep. You're not going to fall asleep at the wheel in. You're not going to fall asleep at the wheel in Sri Lanka. I don't know if that even would happen. Maybe it does, but you rarely get a moment where your brain is not sort of like fully aware of what's going on around you. Now, I say all this as if that makes things safer. It's not safer, and if you're not a confident driver, perhaps you shouldn't be driving in these sort of countries anyway, but you'll know for yourself. Probably also don't be overly confident. I do believe that a lot of the big accidents that happen here, or I say big accidents, the accidents that happen here tend to be where people are a little overconfident. So I can see the bus is starting to hug me again. Now he might just drop off a passenger and he'll drop away, or he might suddenly swing up beside me. I do think we're going to get a little bit of rain, which means I might have to bring the camera inside. The GoPro itself is waterproof, but the housing it's in at the moment so that you can hear me clearly is not. And there's dogs. There's a dog on the road just up ahead of us here, and he's barking and looking around, so you've got to think, what is he up to? Is he going to jump out? Generally the dogs are fairly smart, generally, but I say they're smart. They sleep in the middle of the road sometimes, so they're not that smart. See the police and the soldiers on the side. There's a guy with a gun there. So in Sri Lanka, if you go over the speed limit, they shoot you. I'm kidding, joking. Oh dear. Oh, might have caught a few. No, they're just. I don't know why they're out today particularly. I don't think there's a curfew today. Okay, you've got the bus coming up on my. Okay, I'm going to overtake this guy. He's a little bit slow. Little beep to let him know I'm coming alongside. There's a railway crossing just coming up, so there'll be rails. So they quite often are very rough. A lot of the tuk-tuk drivers will go right on the inside here to get a smoother crossing. If you go right through the centre, they're often hellishly bumpy. So I've lost my bus now because I can. I put my tiny little windscreen wiper on. Do you think this rain's going to come to anything, Michelle, or is it going to be fairly mild? I think we're going to leave the camera rolling. If it gets heavy, we might have to. Have you got a plastic bag or anything we could tie over it if it got very heavy? So, GoPro, make your media center waterproof, and we've got a cloth at all. I'm going to clean this mirror a little bit.
So they can see you.
Whee! And he's dropped down to third. And road microphones. Also, make your little microphones waterproof. I don't think it would be that hard to make those microphones waterproof in this day and age. These little villages and towns, you can stop and get fruit and vegetables and snacks, and generally you can get hot drinks and cold drinks as well. Okay, the bus is coming back up on my side. Also, now I've got, you see there the two young ladies passing me, the bus coming on the inside. You've got to be careful, you've got to give a little beat, make sure everybody's aware of what's going on. Here I've got another little overtake, but also a tuk-tuk coming on in the outside of me, which you can't see. He wants to overtake. Some pedestrians with a child. So I let this guy go round. Whoop, and now a minibus. And he's turning out into the traffic, and you saw there, instead of straightening out, his nose is just coming out into the road. That's where accidents can happen. That guy's not sleeping at the wheel, but he's asleep mentally. Here's another one pulling out. I'm probably going to let this guy go. The more knocks and dents in a vehicle, the less likely they are to be bothered whether they hit you or not. Oh, look at the smoke coming out of that. Disgusting. That's the other thing you will find driving in Sri Lanka, in a tuk-tuk particularly, when you're open like this, is you're frequently sucking in exhaust fumes. That can be a little frustrating. So we come to another busy little town. Not sure what the name of this place is. You won't be able to pronounce it anyway, Michelle, when you find it. Whatever Michelle just said sounded very unconfident. Give the little guy a smile. He's obviously looking for a drop-off place. These are the areas where you have to be very careful, because you're sort of moving between pedestrians and traffic. There's a bike coming on my inside here. Whoops, I missed second there. I thought I had. So yeah, you're dealing with, and occasionally the odd cow. If you're in Trincomalee, maybe the odd deer in the street. I mean, this would be in Australia. This would be madness. People wouldn't want to drive in this sort of environment. The pedestrian crossings. Now I just put my arm out there to stop any. So I put my arm out on the right side of the tuk-tuk to warn anybody there was a lady crossing the zebra crossing. So she was comfortable to cross, because the problem is if she walks out in front of me and then a motorbike or another tuk-tuk comes on the right-hand side, then we got problems. So yeah, this would be madness in Australia, but I kind of like it. Wow, look at the size of that big tuna there. I don't know if you'll see that in the camera. Massive piece of tuna on the side. Okay, so let's get up into fourth gear. The town's starting to open up. I think we're just about to leave it. Mawatha. It's hard to read when you're driving. I can't focus. Oh, it's hard. But we'll let the little truck go by us. So yeah, you can see as we leave the town, the road opens up, but you're never far away from the next town. You're not going to get many stretches of open road where there's nothing. It's a good thing to actually film as we go along, Michelle, because there's a lot of things you miss. Look at the bougainvillea on that side there, or is that, no, it's probably not a bougainvillea. Mangoes and avocados are in season. You'll see a look. Whoa, you see that bus coming through there? Madness. Look at the speed that he's gone through at. And he's on a bend. He did beep, so basically he says, you know, I'm coming through, you get out the way. And my advice would be that you do just move over. I mean, he was okay there. If he'd been in your country, you might have said he wouldn't be, but he was sort of okay. So yeah, look, avocados, bananas, pretty much always in season. Look at the smoke coming out of this. And that's going to come straight in my doorway, and luckily straight back out again. Not going to linger in here. Just let the bike know. Did you notice, I don't know if you saw there, but bikes will come out onto the road and they will never glance. They rarely ever even bother to peripherally glance to the road they're driving out onto. They're just kind of used to cars and tuk-tuks and other motorbikes being aware of them. You might catch that. Actually, look, as I'm driving along, if you look at the little laneways and junctions coming out onto the road, you watch, you'll see vehicles coming out, not always just bikes, cars as well sometimes, and the driver won't even give a simple little glance to his right, his or her right. So this is about as open as the roads get when you're not in a town. They don't tend to get, unless you're on the bends, which we will be going on later on. Just drop into third gear, get round this guy a little bit. He's doing a delivery. Look at this old car on the side here. Look at the state of that. Is that an old Ford or maybe an old Datsun? So we're also going to go around this bus here, and I give a little beep because he's going to start rolling, but I don't want to sit and wait for him because he might stop again in 100 metres. See, the bike's gone round me, I've gone round the bus, the bike's gone around me. The tuk-tuk is doing whatever he's doing. So yeah, you don't want to really stop behind them because they sometimes stay there for a long time. Sometimes they stop again. I mean, they go to pull away and stop. And that bus is behind me now. He's either going to go whizzing past me or he's going to stop several times for pickups. No, he's already stopped. Already stopped. So we're good. We did the right thing. The other thing you're going to find if you're driving in a tuk-tuk in Sri Lanka, you're going to need to drink water, a lot of water. See that? It's on my side of the road. Anyway, you're going to need to drink a lot of water because you dehydrate very quickly. And I've driven for 3 or 4 hours in Sri Lanka and drunk litres and litres of water, and you never have to do a toilet stop at all because it just evaporates out of your body. So I mean, basically, I'm going to ask Michelle now if I can have a little drink. I'm in 4th gear, so this hand is a little bit free. There's not a lot of traffic around, so I'll reach back. Okay, we've got a little bottle. I hesitated there because I saw traffic stopped ahead of me, but we were far enough away that I could just have a drink. tell you, a good thing if you were driving here would be to have a sort of, you know, a hiking bladder on your back, and just, you know, something like a, oh, I can't remember the brands. Comment down below, there are loads of them. I'd also love to hear from you if you feel this is the place you'd love to drive like this, in a place, what am I saying? Would you like to drive in a place like this, or does it fill you with fear and just absolutely no? Are you on the fence a bit? You'd like to give it a try but you're not sure? Let me know. This guy's really slowing and hesitating. His one brake light has come on. It's cloudily covered by a cataract, so you can barely tell he's stopping. A learner driver, look. This old fella. Very few of the towns have any sort of footpaths, so generally people are going to be walking out on the street. They have a designated parking area, but they rarely have any footpaths, and sometimes they don't even have a parking area. So I'm scooting along now in third, nice and slow. We're in another smaller town. Another white tuk-tuk. You don't see many white tuk-tuks. They're mainly sort of red, green and blue. Wow, it's looking a bit greener ahead of us now, so we might be getting into a bit of open country, which will be quite pretty. There still won't be much distance between villages and towns, even in this area. So I'm gonna choose a low gear and use the gears to slow me down this hill rather than the brakes, because you don't want the brakes to overheat and lose your brakes altogether. Now I'd say, I can't quite see down here, this is a fairly long hill, so what I'm going to do is just slow the tuk-tuk down a little bit. I'm going to drop into second, and I'm just going to cruise down here nice and slowly in second gear. Tiny bit of acceleration. Now I can see it's actually flattening out, so I'll go back up into third. But use your gears to slow down. I think I've said this in another video, so I won't labour it, but no, you see, we're getting up some speed again, so we'll slow the vehicle down, drop into third, take your foot off the brake. Somebody's cooking on the side here, look. Got a brazier going with some corn. I've got to go around this parked truck. There's a van coming down at some speed, or a lorry of some sort. So again, slow down. Let the truck go by you. No worries. Oh, well, that's my eardrums gone. There was no need for that, mate. Road narrowing ahead. Wow, that literally has... Okay, so we've had a landslide here. We've had a bit of a landslide. There is a bus coming, but I'm going to beat him round the corner because I don't want to wait, but I think there might have been a shortcut there, Michelle, through the mountain. Did you see it? 2 hour... You won't be able to see it out that side, but 2 hour... Yeah, there was a little lock down here. A little cut through. So you can see the sign saying it's a steep hill. So again, use your gears to slow the vehicle. Trust me, if you use your brakes, they will overheat and eventually they will just fail. And you don't want that to happen driving down these hills. Now see that, I don't know if the camera will pick it up on the inside. Should we change sides? No, we're going to get the better views on this side, I think. Although on the right-hand side here, there's a lot of people cooking, preparing rice. Looks like they're cooking some. Drop back into third. The road's flattening out. So it does mean that you're going to go fairly slow down these hills. But we're not in a hurry. And sometimes these declines can go on for an hour or so, so you don't want to... They were eating in the truck. Yeah, they were. It looked like they bought food or they brought a little picnic with them. So I don't know if you can see the views down there now, everybody, but they're quite spectacular. So we're actually in third now, and if I take my hands off of the steering wheel, that don't show anything because the brakes aren't on the steering wheel, are they? But anyway, trust me, my foot is not on the brake at all. Tiny bit of brake applied. But you look here, look at all those beautiful avocados. Hello, everyone. And they're definitely cooking corn here. How much? 40 rupees for one piece. Huh? So if you want to stop and have a beautiful, do you have it with chili or spice or?
Salt water.
Salt water. Okay, thank you. Tutti. For 40 rupees, you can get one of my favourite snacks of all time. Really, is a piece of corn. Staying over, let that little truck go by. Loads of people selling corn. I mean, corn it's the nectar of life. It's such a good food. I mean, my kids are bored of me saying this. I love corn. I think it's one of the greatest things. You can completely satiate and fill your body with everything you need on a corn on the cob. So you're never short of somewhere to stop and buy yourself a house plant or food or drinks. The only thing you are going to be short of on a journey of this current time in Sri Lanka, you're going to be short of fuel. Now we've got enough fuel to get to the end of our destination, so I'm not going to be looking to buy fuel en route unless the opportunity presents itself and I want to top up a little bit. Our destination, so I'm not going to be looking to buy fuel en route unless the opportunity presents itself and I want to top up a little bit. Now the tuk-tuk's starting to speed away, so I just ease on the brakes a little bit because I'm not sure how steep this bend will be. I'll drop down into third gear. It's amazing. It's so nice to drive. Now notice the little green tuk-tuk. I don't know if anyone's a tuk-tuk aficionado, but is that one narrower than ours, Michelle? It's a different model.
No, I think it's just the colour. It's just the colour.
Okay, a little bit of roadside maintenance going on. A little bit of whipper-snippers. It's nice that the boys stopped as we passed. So we're probably going to go for a little while longer and I'll decide when I'm going to cut it. I don't know if this is interesting. Big hole ahead of us, big pothole. Check your mirrors and get out into the centre. See, that would be really jarring. Little dog, see? He's just looking as if he's going to walk out in front of you, and he probably would. They do pay attention to the horns. They're not stupid. No, they're not smart either. A little, just in case someone walked out from the back of that vehicle. So I think I'm going to pause the video for a little while, unless it gets quite interesting. And also, it's quite drying. on the old mouth to continually be talking. So if I don't film anymore, share the love, share this video. If you've enjoyed it, let me know. Answer some of the questions, get involved with the community, talk, let Michelle and I know what you think. And in the meantime, we'll see you next time. Hopefully you can see me in the mirror. I don't care if it rains or freezes, as long as I got my plastic Jesus riding on the dashboard of my plane. It's a bit of luck, the guy's selling us silver chains. So this is the first real bit of heavy congested traffic we've had since Kandy. Had some heavy traffic, but nothing that's just ground to a stop like this. And everybody's fighting for position, jockeying for position. Cement lorry's doing, but he's clearly got an agenda that he's trying to get round. See, people are... What's happening is, again, there's a fuel line here and people are struggling to get round the corner.
350 meters on the right.
So we are home and dry. Hey, Jamie.
He kept our spot.
So we've got to leave now. A lot of people might have noticed I've mentioned once or twice the hotel, some connection with the hotel we're staying in. When we first arrived here in Sri Lanka,